what are English classes for? Like, really, what is the point? Every day on the news, you hear about how such and such university is getting rid of their media studies major or their entire literature department because the college administration wants to focus on more practical degrees that improve students' earning potential. It's clear that universities often don't think that English classes are valuable, so it's not surprising that many students feel that way too. A lot of people think that English classes are unimportant at best and at worst, simply useless. Now, of course, I'm not talking about the elementary school English classes that teach basic reading and writing skills. I am talking about the upper-level high school and college English classes. The classes where you read literature and write papers and do rhetorical analyses and all that stuff. A lot of people believe that all that stuff is pointless, especially now that the internet has come around and provided folks with autocorrect along with endless answers to all of their reading and writing related questions. It really makes you wonder, what is the point? English classes aren't teaching you anything you couldn't learn on your own, right? I was an English teacher for almost 5 years before I became a YouTuber, and I had to think about that question every time I came into the classroom. So let's explore it together and figure out, once and for all, what is the point of English classes? There is a surprisingly large number of people who think that the internet has made English classes outdated and unnecessary. And on the one hand, that's not totally wrong. You can just look up what the themes of As I Lay Dying are, and you can look up what transitive verbs are, and how to use semicolons, and how to write a good thesis statement. Hell, you can even have an AI program write your whole paper for you. So if we can get all of this information from the internet, then what's the point? Why should we waste our time learning this stuff that Google or Grammarly can just do for us? Well, some people answer this question by proposing that we should just get rid of English classes. This is the preferred position of many academic administrators, anti-intellectual politicians, and even many college students themselves. Speaking as someone who taught first-year composition, the writing class that pretty much every single college student is required to take, I can confirm most students don't want to have to take English. In their view, they can obviously read and write well enough to make it into college, and their majors should be about what they're going to do as a career, so any general education requirements outside of that are a waste of their time. Now, the whole "are gen ed classes a waste of time" debate is a whole other conversation for another time, but as more and more universities get rid of their humanities programs, it's clear that many people think English classes have no point. But I don't think that's right. And I'm not just saying this because I was an English teacher and I'm afraid of Grammarly taking my job or whatever. That is literally a comment that I got on my Grammarly video. It is hilarious stuff. I'm saying this because English classes can give us something that the internet can't. There is a lot of valuable information on the internet. That is just objectively true. We have SparkNotes and the Purdue Owl and thesaurus.com and sites that can teach us the major themes of The Great Gatsby and how to write a good thesis statement. We even have things like Grammarly and Jordan Peterson's writing app. Yes, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson has a writing app. I've tried it. Let me know in the comments if you want me to talk about it. And various AI tools like YouWrite that can give you feedback on your writing. All of these websites and apps and programs definitely make it feel like English classes are unnecessary at this point, but they would only make English classes obsolete if they fully replaced what English classes have to offer. If English classes only taught grammar and spelling and finding correct interpretations and all of those nitty-gritty mechanical functions that these tools excel at. And honestly, many students and administrators want English classes to focus on these practical skills, because that's what people think is useful. If they're going to be required to take a writing class, then they may as well get clear, objectively practical, useful skills out of it, like how to write a resume, right? Now, if that is all that English classes were for, then yes, definitely. English classes have no point, and we can just get rid of them all, and people can learn all of that from the internet. And yeah, honestly, I don't think that the best writing teacher in the world could teach you how to write a resume any better than WikiHow could. But English classes aren't for just learning spelling and grammar and thesis statements and finding the correct interpretations of books and poems. Because humans don't learn by just memorizing how semicolons work, or the difference between subordinating and coordinating conjunctions, or what Emily Dickinson really meant when she capitalized that word. Humans learn by doing, by practicing, by experimenting and screwing up and trying again. And that is what English classes offer that the internet doesn't. English classes give you a place to experiment with words, a place to write stuff, figure out whether it worked or not, and then figure out how you can write something next time that is more effective. English classes give you a place to read a book and ask, okay, but why did the author do this thing at the beginning? Or, wow, I really have a lot in common with the protagonist of this 300-year-old play. And I know that some of you may have been in English classes that weren't like this, or maybe you had an English teacher that did put too much emphasis on grammar and finding the correct meaning of literature. And if you had a class like that, I am sorry. That is not how English classes should be, and you deserved better. The point of English classes is to teach what can't be learned from WikiHow or SparkNotes. They're for figuring out what writing process works best for you, how to ask questions of each other, of texts, and of yourself, how to talk about texts, how to grow and learn and change and do things that are so new and wild and unheard of that no website has ever even considered it as an option. So let's leave the resume writing to WikiHow, okay? The invention of calculators didn't make mathematics classes obsolete. Math teachers just had to figure out how to work with those incredible new tools in their classrooms. The same is true of English. Yes, we can learn a lot of stuff on the internet. That's the whole point of the internet. But instead of being in denial about that fact, English teachers should be celebrating. There are all of these amazing new tools that students can use to improve their reading and writing skills, all at their fingertips at the press of a button. Because students can now somewhat automate the basic mechanical English skills, that gives teachers more time to explore the skills that students can't get from the internet. Students can spend more time experimenting, figuring out their unique writing process, practicing asking questions of texts, and iterating on their methods. In other words, they can spend more time doing the thing that English classes are there to teach them to do. And that is the point. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Like I said in the last one, or whenever it was, at the beginning of August, I said that I was sort of experimenting with these shorter, less intensive kinds of videos, so please let me know what you think of this in the comments below. And I do have some things coming down the pipeline that are pretty fun and silly, and I'm really excited for you to see them, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss them when they come out. I also want to give a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members whose names you can see scrolling on one of these sides. I'm sort of in the middle, in front of a green screen. And I want to give an extra special thanks to A Tasty Snack, Adam, Andrew, Dylan, Jaded Flames, Justin Lowry, Robert Bradford, Science Punk Sellout, and Will Swanson. I truly wouldn't be able to do any of this without the support from you folks. Thank you so very much. If you want to join these wonderful people in the credits and get early access to videos, or if you just want to support the channel, then check out my Patreon, which I have linked in the description, or you can become a channel member by hitting the join button beside the subscribe button. But finally, we have our patron poem of the video. For Cool Bus Driver, here is Doubting Poet. I didn't want to write poems where I'm told to tangle tongues and beguile brains, where every word carries more than its own weight, where each choice I make is sheared into slices, placed between glasses, and inspected with a virologist's eye, looking not for gram-stained beauty, but for those features that show you how best to kill it. I wanted to write poems where I'm asked to help set the table before dinner, where my words sway in a maple-shaded hammock out back, where my choices are held up to the sun like an apple in the plump fingers of the red-haired girl, looking not for perfection, but for how sweet it will taste on the tongue of her lover. And until next time, stay safe, stay warm, and I will see y'all again soon. I hope. Bye, folks.